Oh, my bad, you're already here. I wanted to share in this video with you a story about Jeff. Jeff texted me a message recently and he shared with me a couple of struggles that he's experiencing with his client onboarding process. In this video, I want to break down his message, design, and also demo the system that we're going to be building for Jeff together with you. So let's dive into this. All right, let's first dive into what Jeff texted me. So his message looks something like this. And by the way, Jeff's face might look a little bit familiar to you, right? He said, one of my biggest challenges is keeping our onboarding process smooth and consistent. So every time we close a deal, we move the opportunity into an onboarding stage in Monday CRM, but then it becomes a headache. Someone on my team has to manually send the client an intake form, chase them with the reminder emails, and then update all the details back into Monday once the form is returned. He says also that the issue is that clients forget to submit the form, so that's the issue number one. He also said that we forget to follow up. Obviously, that's a very logical issue. And he also says the data gets copied over incorrectly, as it usually happens with manual and tedious processes or tasks that we're having in our processes. So this slows down the whole process and creates a poor first impression for our new clients. So the question I asked Jeff was, Jeff, do you have any ideas on what system you might want to have so that it helps you eliminate all those problems and create more efficient way of working during your client onboarding process? So he said, what I really need is a hands-off system. The moment we mark an opportunity as onboarding, the client should automatically get a personalized Jotform link. Again, prior to that, they are sending all those links manually. So that will be a huge deal for them. And he also says if they don't fill it out, the system should follow up with a couple of polite reminders, which again will eliminate that part of forgetting to follow up with the clients. And also, once the client submits, all their answers should flow straight into Monday CRM without my team needing to lift a finger, so that when we copy the data from one platform to the other, the data is not copied incorrectly, but it flows consistently and seamlessly. This way, nothing gets lost, clients feel guided through the process, and my team can focus on delivering value instead of chasing paperwork. So that's kind of the system that would instantly make us more professional and efficient. All right, as we went through Jeff's message and we read through this, let's try to break it down in more detail and now understand all the components that you and I are going to be using to build the system for Jeff. So if we look back at the message, we can clearly see that Jeff gives us the first clue, and he says, we move the opportunity into an onboarding stage in Monday CRM, which means that they are using Monday CRM as their record management software. So that's going to be the component number one for our system. The second component is, we remember he mentioned something about the online form. And over here, he mentions the personalized Jotform link. So it seems they're using Jotform online form builder for creating their forms and then again sending those links to the client. So Monday CRM and Jotform are going to be two primary platforms that we're going to be using in this system. Now let's try to simply visualize all the system components that we're going to be using based on Jeff's message. We can see that the first one, as we discussed, is going to be Monday CRM, which is going to be a record management software that we're going to be using for storing information about opportunities, contacts, and probably also form submissions, as we want to turn Monday CRM into a single source of truth for Jeff's team. And we also have Jotform as an online form builder. Again, that's going to be used for clients to submit information using the online form. And again, Jeff didn't mention this component, but we understand that in order for us to move data between the platforms, between Monday CRM and Jotform, we will need some sort of an integration layer. And this is where we're going to be using Zapier. Again, Zapier is a pretty robust system and it will let us move the data seamlessly between the two platforms and eliminate all those manual and tedious steps that Jeff's team is experiencing right now as part of the current client onboarding process that they have. All right, I think we're doing a pretty good job so far. Let's break down the functionalities, the main functionalities that we will be building, just to make sure that it aligns with what Jeff is requesting. And we're going to visualize it very, very simply by just showing all the functionalities on the whiteboard. So let's have a look at this. The first functionality is obviously sending the link to the client, because if they do not receive the link, they never can submit the link. So the first is triggering the sending of the onboarding form. That obviously happens, as we mentioned, from Monday CRM system, because we're going to be using that system as a single source of truth for everything in this process. And the data flows from Monday CRM into Zapier. Zapier generates our personalized form link. It doesn't happen manually anymore. And we also sent the onboarding form link via email to the client. Again, it doesn't happen manually. You don't need to to create the email, or Jeff's team is not going to be creating emails manually anymore. And then the data flows back from Zapier into Monday CRM and updates deal custom fields in Monday, just to make sure that we communicate with the user and tell them that the automation works successfully or not. So that's the first step, sending the link to the customer. The second step is going to be follow up with the customer. And again, we're going to be doing the same approach here, triggering the sending of the follow-up email from Monday CRM system. Now, obviously, this system can also work automatically. So we can send the follow-up if the form is not submitted within a week or so. But for the purpose of this system and this version of the demo, so we can present it to Jeff, I want to still include the trigger and show him how easily it can be triggered from within Monday CRM. So we trigger the sending of the follow-up from Monday CRM. The data flows into Zapier. Zapier sends our follow-up email to the client, and then again it updates the deal custom field in Monday CRM so that we can see the result of the automation back into our system without any need to go back and forth between Zapier, Jotform, our email, or Monday CRM. All right, and the last piece is we send the message to the customer with the Jotform link. We followed up with the customer. So now when person submits the onboarding form, we can see it over here. The data flows from Jotform into Monday CRM, and we need to create our form submission record in our Monday CRM to record all the answers that the customer provided. And again, we'll also update the deal and form submission records in Monday CRM just to make sure that the user clearly sees if the form was submitted or not. And when that information comes into Monday CRM, again, user can see and consume that information from within the system without any need to go to Jotform and find that submission over there. So now, as we've confirmed that what we designed and the system that we want to build actually aligns with what Jeff requested, now is the most fun part. We've built the system and let's test it. So we're going to go to Monday CRM and let me walk you through the step of how all the functionalities that we've laid out previously are working together in this simple system. So we're going to start with our deals. You can see on the left, I'm going to the deals tab. I'm going to be using the Google deal as an example. Again, we're having multiple statuses here or stages of the deals. Right now, Google deal is in the onboarding stage, and we need to send the onboarding form to this client. In this case, client's name is Steven Scott, and he's got my email as his contact email over here. So what we need to do is we simply need to trigger sending of the link, as we discussed in the functionalities part, by clicking the checkbox over here. So I'm going to click the checkbox here. It will take probably a couple of seconds to update the record, but now it should change the status of the automation to sending and also communicate back to us in a second whether the link was sent successfully or if there were any errors. All right, you can see right now that the status just changed to sending. So the automation is right now in process, and it's processing the request and it's sending the email to my inbox. So let's give it a couple more seconds and see how that email looks in my inbox. You can also see that it's now changed the status of the deal to sent, and it left me a message saying the onboarding email was successfully sent. So let's go to my inbox and see how it looks from there. Now, this is the email that I received, and it says, "Welcome aboard, let's get started." And you can see it says, "Kickstart your journey with us." For now, we're having our branding in this email, but again, that can be changed to Jeff's branding very, very easily. So we have the welcome message over here and a button that says complete your onboarding form. Now, as I click the button, it's going to take me to the form, to the onboarding form that asks me a couple of questions in order for us or for Jeff's team to start working with the client. But before we submit the form, let's get back to Monday CRM and see how we can follow up with the person if they do not submit the form or if they say they didn't receive the email. All right, so now I'm back inside Monday CRM. I'm gonna open the deal over here, and you can see on the right-hand side, it gives me a small window of sending the form, or all the fields that relate to sending the onboarding form. We can see the time when the form was sent. It says September 10th, 11:01 a.m. Eastern Time. It also gives me the message when the form was sent. In order for us to resend the form, if you remember the functionalities we discussed, we're gonna re-trigger that from within Monday CRM by just clicking the same checkbox and waiting a couple of seconds to receive the email inside my inbox. So let's wait a couple of seconds and I'll show you how it looks like from my inbox. Okay, so assuming that we, as a client, ignored the first email from Jeff, now we receive the second email that looks something like this. It says, "Almost there, finish your onboarding today." Again, this is the follow-up that we're sending to the client if they do not submit the form. For now, we're doing this by triggering this email from Monday CRM. Obviously, if Jeff prefers, and we're gonna ask him later on if he prefers to do it automatically, but for now, for demoing purposes, we're gonna be doing this by triggering it from Monday CRM. So in this case, you have, again, the simple message, and again, the button that will take you to the onboarding form. You can see that the onboarding form doesn't ask any questions about your name or your email, because that is a personalized link, and when submitted, the information will flow directly into the deal that is linked to this specific customer. So let's answer all those questions and see how the data flows back into Monday CRM. Okay, so now as we submitted the form, let's get back into Monday CRM and see how data flows back into our deal and how we can easily see if the form was submitted or not, and again, consume all the data from that single source of truth that in this case, in Jeff's case, is going to be Monday CRM deal. To go back to Monday CRM, I'm going to open Google deal that we worked with, and I can see that the status was changed to receive. You can also see that the time when the form was updated was 11:07. That means that we submitted the form at 11:07, and it also updates the details of the automation saying that the onboarding form was successfully submitted and all the information was recorded inside the Monday CRM deal. And as we can also see here, we'll find the form submission linked to the deal automatically. So if we click on the form submission, we can see all the answers that we provided in that form, which makes, again, this consumption of information much more seamless than it used to be before, because otherwise you have to go to Jotform, find that form submission, see all the answers in the form, or at least you have to go to your email to see that email from Jotform that you received. In this case, all the information gets linked, and again, Jeff's team will just be able to see all the related deals, form submissions for Google Deal right inside Monday CRM without leaving the software or going anywhere else to a different platform. Yeah, Jeff, I'm very glad you liked it. Yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. All right, I'll see you later. Thanks. I just got off the phone with Jeff. He said that he really liked the system, and congratulations to you. He said that you and I did a great job. He'll be starting using the system very, very soon. What he also said is that he will tell his friends about the cool system that we built for him, so we might have a little bit more use cases coming up during the next couple of weeks. Again, as soon as I have new requests coming in, I'll shoot you a message and we'll come together to build a new cool system for the new use case. I'll see you in the next one.